language processing. On this line today, I will give this this talk. Even if I won't be talking on natural language processing itself, but I would say the preliminary steps, the preliminary experiments that we carry out together with Antonio Reyes on figurative language processing, and concretely on humor recognition and irony detection in social. Right, so I will try to say something about what we have done, starting with what was our objective. The problem is that we needed to focus when we had to automatically process figurative text. And concretely, as I said, I will say something about the humor recognition, and I would like to spend some more time on the preliminary stuff that we have done on the irony detection. I will present the models with the preliminary models and the group models in order to deal with the humor and irony. And I will finish saying also something about the applicability of these models from an information retrieval aspect. We could think about the need of retrieving humorous text, not only because we are interested in humor, that is always good to the laugh from time to time, but I think that maybe we want to retrieve relevant documents about a certain topic, and we want this document to address seriously the topic, or on the contrary, depending on the audience. I think you have to address a serious topic to an audience of adolescents, so you could be interested in from time to time to approach the problem in a sort of humorous way. And talking about irony detection, I would say something about the usefulness of this task for instance, online reputation, the reputation of the company, the reputation of the people, and we'll try to sum up something again. Right. As I said, we are interested in figurative language in social media, so not in literature book, not think about irony of Oscar Wilde, novels and so on, no, in social media text, so like nowadays users, younger speak, and we are interested in seeing if it's possible to come up with some linguistic-based patterns that could help to some extent, to be able to recognize the humorous text, ironic opinion. Okay, let's have a look at these examples that are example of well-known for those who have been working in the area corpus built by Paolo Rosso and Radamia of online humorous text. In order just to see together if we are able to envisage to have an idea of some of what could be some of the linguistic based patterns that could trigger this humorous effect. For instance, Jesus says, and today's practice, that's a miracle. Okay. Love is blind, but marriage is a real eye-opener. This is especially for art, who is getting married soon. Drugs may lead to nowhere, but at least it's a scenic route, become a computer programmer and never see the word again. My software never has bugs. It just develops random features. We're talking here about features. God must love the stupid people. He made some of them. So we could already have an idea that in some cases, I mean, ambiguity plays a role, like Jesus says. So it's as a verb or as an noun. Antonyms, blind and eye-opener. Okay, then human weakness sometimes are used as trigger, common topics, community, and computer programmers, and irony. Irony also is important. Stupid people, we made so many of them. This is the trick. And talking about irony is not easy also for linguists, not computational linguists, to define a boundary. Irony, sarcasm, satire. Okay, satire is usually used for politicians, but the line is very subtle. If you find it hard to laugh at yourself, I would be happy to do it for you. Of course, we work with text. Sometimes it's possible to such a way to discriminate on the basis of the pitch of the voice. The way you look at you start the person. But having to work just with text is not easy, so we follow the approach to consider irony from a broad sense point of view. And also to give a flavor of the kind of text talking about irony, we had to process in microblogs like Twitter. This is an example. So, of course, you have the size limit, the short text, the noise is in there, and so everything, so this ironic effect has to be made in a very short space. And these are tweets about Toyota. If you remember, a couple of years ago, Toyota had some problems with brakes and accelerators, so you could find many of these kind of tweets with the hashtag Toyota in Twitter. Like, the Toyota slogan was moving forward. The new slogan became moving forward, yes, even if you don't want to, because, okay, the faulty brakes and the jam accelerators, and so on and so forth. So, the aim was to such a way to be able to discriminate a literal meaning from figurative meaning. So in figurative language, we use the words not to say exactly what words could say at a first glance. And we were interested to see if it was possible to a certain extent to be able to do this on the basis of linguistic-based patterns. And as I said, we were interested in social media stuff, and also we wanted to try to apply something some of the results to some information retrieval end of that. Right, literal language, everybody knows. We say flower, maybe we don't want to say exactly flower, but something slightly different. So the meaning is maybe related to the beauty or a woman, who knows. But what is certain that when we want to use, to be humoristic, for instance, we wanted to try to do it intentionally. Okay, sometimes it happens that we don't really want to, but most of the time this is our aim. So this is planned. Of course, we have to focus on verbal humor, and we have seen already some of these devices that are used in order to trigger the humorous effect. But we could think about, you could see some other example in order to consider some others of them. Like on a 30-day diet, so far I've lost 15 days. Okay, so you expect here kilos, so there is an incongruity, and or again irony and ambiguity. At the end, as I say, the intention is to make someone laugh. Okay. What about irony? Right. Well, again, we are interested in verbal irony. And here, sometimes the devices that are used to trigger this ironic effect are a little bit more subtle. Like, I feel so miserable without you, it's almost like having you here. Don't worry about what people think, they don't do it very often. Sometimes I need what you can provide in your absence. So there is this contradiction that you point out about and what is also important to underline from another language processing point of view that basically irony is an implicit way of negation. We know explicit words that make us understand that there is a negation process, not, for instance, but irony is an implicit one. So as we'll see later, it's more difficult to find these negation markers because they are not explicit, so they have to be extracted, mined, and understood. Right. Saying something about the previous work that has been done on with respect to humor generation, this is the one, and with respect to humor recognition, as I said, with respect to the online focus, Carlos Traparada and Radamir. They focus especially on phonological features, semantics, and complexity. And with respect to irony, sarcasm, and satire, instead the linear work that was done was based on similarized headlines, onomatopoeic expressions, and so nothing was done on social media, and so we started from there. What are the challenges, apart from the fact that it's a matter of understanding what is not explicitly said, literally said? I mean, there are some other challenges, like, first of all, the task is very subjective. What could be sort of funny for me, maybe it's not funny for you. What could be funny for a majority of people in a certain culture could be even offensive for people of another culture. So actually I get rid of some examples because I was a little bit afraid that someone could feel offended, because sometimes in Western countries people try to be funny, playing with certain topics, with certain words. And then another challenge is data set. It's very difficult to find the data sets, and just because the task itself is objective, this was a problem, because, okay, you can pretend to tag it, to ask some expert, but who are the experts? I mean, who is, okay, I'm the expert on irony. But maybe, I mean, what you consider ironic is not ironic for others. So at the end, we decided to rely on the wisdom of the crowd. So the way users tag short text in social media as humorous as ironic. Right. So apart from some complex linguistic patterns that we can see here playing with phonology and alliteration, what do you use to talk an elephant and elephone, emphasis on enjoy emphasis, so on and so forth. We try to focus on ambiguity. That there was something that was also investigated with respect to humor recognition. Ambiguity from a different perspective, morphological, we've seen an example before, lexical, syntactic. If you remember, for instance, about the example of before, I am on one of the examples before, I am on a 30-day diet, so far I've lost 15 days. So then it was a matter of how trying to, to catch a situation like this. So it was, so we thought that perplexity was a good way. Well, once you have a certain sequence of words, you wanted to know how predictable is the next one. So in the previous example, of course, you don't expect a day, and you expect kilos, for instance. So it could be useful to approach it this way. Then, with respect to the morphological ambiguity, we took into consideration the part-of-speech information. With respect to syntactic ambiguity, we had an intuition looking at some examples that sometimes some examples try to provoke this funny effect with the sentences that were sort of more complex in terms of verbal clause and non-clause. So we explore also this, and with respect to the semantic ambiguity, intuition beyond was, okay, let's suppose a word has more than one meaning. If the two meanings are very different from each other, quite likely, who knows? I mean, if they completely mean different things, this could be the reason why the funny effect is provoked. So the preliminary experiments we carry out were on 3 data sets, one on Italian quotations, one on on the well-known English one-liners corpus, and then also we were interested in studying studying humor, not only in social media, that this is the main aim, but also in children. So if what if some of these patterns that we had in mind could work also for children? So how they recognize, they consider